Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel here, as always, with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick. Got a busy show for you folks today. Nike's probably going to lead us off. They're the biggest earnings report of the after hours and pre-market sessions. So we'll talk about that and any sympathy plays off of that report. We have earnings as well from KB Homes and Cintas. So we'll talk about those. We have, of course, a Fed decision coming today. We think we all know the outcome, so not sure how much that will move markets, but it is looming overhead. Nonetheless, some interesting ratings to discuss as well, and Dennis has identified some interesting after-hours activity in a couple of stocks, so we'll talk about those. As always, we'll take your questions from our chats on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. Our guest today, Jonathan Corpina. He will join the show at 8:35. He's a senior managing partner at Meridian Equity Partners. Joel, what is the word in the overnight session?
Quiet. We've had a little under a 7-point range. Your pre-market low comes in at 22 even. That's just above your close at 21 and a quarter. On the upside, we can't do any better than 29, 28, 75. That's just below, or a couple of handles below the high from Tuesday. Big number on the downside, folks. Monday and Tuesday's lows, they're matching here. Let's just call it 29.18. That is the key to the market today and perhaps for the rest of the week. Crude peeling back 43 cents here, down at 71.85. Couldn't reach yesterday's high at 72.78. We're peeling back. And we are through yesterday's low, which was 71.89. Gold just hanging out at 1,200, down $3 at 12.02. Silver down a penny at 14.48, and Bitcoin not 6,000, not 7,000, right there at 64.95, up $125. Dennis, guess what I did this morning? Very, very early this morning at, let's say, 5:45.
What'd you do? You woke up.
Oh, no, I woke up earlier. I did something else.
You swam.
I'm back in the pool. Back in the saddle. Yeah, training. I got big meet coming up in March, so I'm back in the pool.
What's going on in March?
Well, March.
You racing again?
Yes, I am. Yes,
really?
I am. Yes, I'm entering the next category on the upside. So
the senior swim.
Yes. Yeah.
How old do you got to be in the senior swim? You're not a senior yet.
Dude, they have age groups starting at 21 to 25, and then they have 90 and over. They go up.
So are you trying to sneak into the 91?
55 to 59.
You're not 55.
I know, but I will.
How you pull that one over them?
Let's not talk about it. All right, let's get to the market.
You pull a fast one. Joe likes to win. So if he can get an edge and race against a bunch of 60-year-olds, he'll do it. That's his edge. Joel doesn't trade without an edge. He doesn't swim without an edge. He needs an edge. Yes. Okay, so we digress. Before we get him kicked out of the swimming competition, we better drop it since they might be listening. Let's move on to this market. Incredible movement here in one stock. And you know which stock I'm going to start with? Talk about it yesterday. I even just tweeted it.
Alibaba?
The big mover from yesterday. The unbelievable mover. It just would not stop going up because they put a 125 price target on it.
Square. Yeah.
Holy cow, that was incredible. So $81.53, the low from Monday. I kid you not. It got down to $81.58. Here we are. Not even 40. Well, I guess we're 48 hours just after it now from that low. And we are trading at 96.40, tacked on 15 points in 2 days. I have no position in this. I wish I was long it. I think it's going to 100. I said it yesterday on the show. I think it's eventually going to $100. I did not think it was getting there this week. I don't know if you can stop it. I think you could see $100 this week. It's 96.40. It's $3 away from there now. I'm not sure if it's going to go straight there or not, but I feel like it's unstoppable to at least to $100.
Do they make any money?
No, that doesn't matter. It's got the story. We already know the bottom line in this market doesn't matter at all. If you've got top line growth, this market loves you. If you're making money on the bottom line, like Ford and GM, who cares? It's all about top line growth. You're not growing the top line. They want nothing to do with you. And Square is growing the top line. And that's all that matters right now.
All right. Monster volume yesterday, too. 8 million on Monday, 28 million yesterday. In order to fill the gap from yesterday, you need to get down to 96 even. And your pre-market high stands at 97.35. That's actually a double top from the pre-market trading.
It's just that move yesterday. So, and it was trading up in the pre-market when we were talking about it, about $1.50, because we know it was a Namira incident, went to the street high 125. And then it came on right before the open. Jim Cramer does his little piece, and he's pumping Square, and he says, I'm right on board with this 125. I think I could go there too. And when he said that, it blasted off another dollar, and it never looked back. We know Jim Cramer can be just as influential as an analyst. So basically, you had the Evercore Cramer punch right at the open. The thing opened at basically 88.74 and just straight up all day long. It did have a little dip. I guess got up at almost 90 and then did dip a little bit there in the first 10 minutes. But after it broke out through 90, that was a straight up 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. Now we're through 96 here this morning. Just incredible movement in Square yesterday. It was up over 10%. Huge. Joel's on mute. How'd you do that to yourself already?
I coughed.
Maybe you should. He's just setting himself up because that's just going to get him into that 55-year-old senior swim if he mutes himself a few more times.
Does anybody use the application?
Square?
Yeah.
Well, you use it when you go to certain merchants, right? That are using the Square. Like, I mean, you're in a cab or you're in something, and they can pay.
Spencer, do you use it?
I mean, I have.
I've seen it. I've used it. Like in different places, it's like you're easy.
I've used it a couple times. I mean, Square owns. Oh no,
Venmo?
No, that's PayPal. That's PayPal. Square has their own Cash App. No, I mean, I've used it a couple times.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's got the story. It's all that matters here right now. Story will break eventually, and then obviously this could get ugly because I don't know if it supports valuation or not. But I tell you, a good story can last a long time, and I'm not fighting the trend on this one.
Okay, let's do some earnings.
Nike. Wow, swoosh down last night on these numbers, down 2 points. Spencer, details.
Yeah, so lots to go over here. So let's start with the headline numbers. The Q1 EPS, 67 cents, beat estimates by 5 cents. Sales, $9.948 versus $9.93 billion. So it's a slight beat on the sales number as well. What analysts seem to be focusing on is the gross margins, which increased from 43.7% in the same quarter last year to 44% this year. So only a 0.5% increase really in gross margins on the year-over-year basis. And I've seen some people cite that as not good enough as one reason why the stock reacted the way it did. They reaffirmed their sales guidance on the conference call, and what else to this? That's pretty much those are the headlines right there.
What's the low after hours low there, Joel? Last night I thought I saw an 81 handle.
80.75.
No, say it again. You broke up right when you were saying it.
80.75.
Got in the 80 handle.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the buy the dippers are already in here. It's bounced since then up to 2 points. I would say you get anywhere in the 81 handle again. I think you're going to find buyers. It's again what Spinner and I have been talking about, for a long time here. Stocks that are in uptrends, you're buying the dips. Stocks that are in downtrends, you're selling the rips. I mean, here's a dip. It's a stock that's clearly in an uptrend. It's been in an uptrend since basically the end of 2017 when we're at $50.
Yeah, great.
So I think you get anywhere 80, 81. I think you got buy the dippers all over this. So I'll go along with them. I'm buying the dip. Now, not necessarily 82.75 because you're 2 points off the pre-market low, but I think if I get a shot in the 81s, maybe I'll take a shot too.
81.22 was your September 10th low. High expectations, big run. I mean, it tacked on $7-8 since the Colin Kaepernick commercial. So keep an eye on that pre-market low. Another low in that area is 80.01. That was from September 7th.
Let's jump over to the other big earnings stock from last night, which was KB Homes, and it is getting a big lift. Caution, though, to the buyer. We say this every time these home builders, they always seem to come out with good earnings. They always seem to lift pre-market. They always seem to hold on, at least at the open, but it seems like eventually you look back at them a few days after they report and they leak it away. So I'm not going to jump in here and buy KB Homes trading of $1.71 this morning. Give us the numbers, Spencer. I'm sure they're good. Seems like the home builders always report good numbers, but it always seems like when you look at them a couple weeks later, they're back in the gutter.
The Q3 EPS was a beat, 87 cents versus a 77-cent estimate, so a nice 10-cent beat there. Sales 1.225 versus 1.26 billion, so a slight miss on that number. But like you said, Dennis, they seem to always report EPS beats.
They do, and they seem to get good lifts too. Like I can remember multiple times Toll Brothers getting a nice lift on earnings. You can see it from the last report. You look at it a month later, it gave it all back. I mean, Toll went from 35 to almost $40. Gave it all back a month later. LEN was same story. And if you look at LEN, it's sitting right near the lows, but it got a lift on its, I believe, its last earnings report there, and it leaked it all the way too. So here's KB Homes getting a lift, all kinds of resistance, 27 to 28. I'll just say sold to you. I'm once bitten, twice shy, and I'm not chasing these home builders up because I keep seeing them leak. Again, stock is not in an uptrend. It's not really in a downtrend either, I would say. Well, yeah, I would say. You go to 2018, we're up at $36, $37. So following our theory, selling rips and uptrends, you're getting a rip here. So I like it from the short side more than the longs, but sometimes these things don't work themselves out in a day.
27.34. That represents your pre-market high. And then Dennis pointed out just that 27 to 28 area. And I will just give you, this was back in July 11th, all the way through July 19th. Your highs were in a range from 27.15 to 27.81. So boom, boom, split that, call it 27.45, 27.50. When a stock goes up to that area, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row, and then you go back to it again, just on pre-market, on pre-market trading, on earnings, to me, that's very, very valid resistance. And I don't even know if we'll see. I don't even know if this thing will open over 27. I think some sellers are going to step down.
Let's go look at the book.
Yeah, let's look at the book.
Let's see if we see any levels to lean on. I love it when I see some size. When I want to short a stock and I see some size in the book to lean on. I like that setup. There's nothing. Book is pretty empty, Joel. It's early here yet, but I don't even see any levels jumping out at me. 28, 78, 10,000. Nothing significant.
What about a 26?
Sorry to disappoint. A 26.
Yeah. 20, can you see that low?
2,600 shares.
That's it?
To sell? You mean to sell 26?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2,600 to sell. There's nothing there.
That's it. Okay.
2682, 3,600, 2720. There's 5,000 there, but these are small.
Yeah.
So I just don't see anything in the book. So we got to go just with the thesis that they've been selling the rips on the home builders and good earnings before. So I'm going to stick with that thesis. So I'd be a seller of this rip, although I don't know if I'm going to take a position in it or not. If I was long it, I'd ring the register all day, though.
Man, that Lennar, that thing's got tagged lately. And then
they're just not liked. I mean, these make money. These companies make money. But again, we're not concerned. This market doesn't care about bottom line, if the earnings are good. They care about top line growth. That top line number wasn't it missed on the top line, correct, on KB Homes?
Yeah, but the
market's just not in earnings. It's not into it. It will be eventually, but right now this market is not into earnings.
Take a look for you longer-term traders in the XHB, and I know we talked about this a while ago. Just all the support, a lot of monthly lows at 38.57. Currently trading comfortably above that, but if that area at 38.50 has been down there 4, 5, 6 months in a row, if that breaks down, that could drag your entire home builder sector down as well.
And it's also a great point Spinner's making here too in the chat. I mean, interest rates, we're going to talk the Fed here in a few minutes, and they're going to go up here again, and interest rates are climbing. That isn't good for, I always use the XLU as the direct stock. but or direct sector that takes a hit because utilities we know are people are buying those things for the dividends, and when the rising interest rates not going to be good for the stocks, but it's not good for home builders either. I mean, low interest rates that's what drives people to build houses. And when you're seeing interest rates start to go up, that is not good for the home builders. So, I mean, if interest rates continue to climb, and they have really in the last year, you got to think that puts pressure on the home builders.
All right. S&Ps are leaking a little bit, trading below mid-range on the session. Mid-range on the session is 25.5. Currently trading 24.75. Dennis, you mentioned the Fed decision. Question in the chat: why do they do it at 2 o'clock? I have absolutely no idea why they do it at 2 o'clock. That's just they have.
Well, they used to do it at 2:15. I mean, when you were kids, I'm joking. when we were at Bright back,
yeah,
years ago, it's 2:15 Fed decision, 2:15. When did they move it to 2?
I cannot.
It's been a lot of years now.
I guess they like to have lunch, digest their lunch or something. I don't know why they do it at that time. But folks, what is looming is the first ever interest rate hike in September. I don't know what the significance of that is. September historically has been a bad month for the market. Hasn't been such a bad month this year. Will be a lot of volatility based on that decision. I mean, the thing that would stick a fork in the market is if they went up a half. That's not going to happen. They'll go up a quarter point. You get some vacillations in the market. But really, the number I like the best for today in the S&Ps is that double bottom from Monday and Tuesday, 28,918 area. We'll just meander until the Fed decision at 2 o'clock.
Jump over. We just had one other earnings stock here this morning, and that was KMX, and it reported and it is trading up in the pre-market, up $2.50. So Spencer, give us the deets on KMX.
$1.24 versus $1.21 on the Q2 EPS. Sales 4.77 versus $4.65 billion. So beats on the top and the bottom line for CarMax.
How's the guidance?
I don't know if they gave any.
Well, maybe they haven't yet because it's this morning. I agree with you, Joel. Up near 80, I think you got all kinds of 80 to 81, all kinds of overhead supply. So you're getting the losses back from the last few weeks. So again, you're coming into resistance. You're buying this up into resistance. So we have seen some of the retailers and obviously continue to follow through. I would say for me to really get excited though, this thing needs to take out 81. Not sure it's got the gas to do it.
Dennis, that will not see 81 today.
That's why I would say I'm not getting excited about it.
If it did, I mean, your pre-market high comes in at 79.65. I see three little highs right around 79.03, 79.13, 79.55. So you have leaked $1.10 off that. I think at least on the first time up. That's 79.50. I wouldn't be surprised this thing struggles even. I mean, we're at 78.40. Struggles to open up over $79 here, but it is trading up 252. What kind of volume?
Light, 18,000. Pretty light.
If you're buying this thing off the hop, you want to see boom 79.5, 79.75, 80, 80 and a quarter, 80 and a half. That's what if you're going to go with the Jeremy Newsom buy, going with the trend in this one.
And I don't see the report to drive it like that. It's not like, whoa, those were good numbers and they're going to keep buying it. So I think I'm on the same side as you. I think I'm a fader of the pop. Okay. Fading. If you're not fading, you're not trading. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah. Dennis, BZ Tokyo got a question for our Canadian friend. That would be you. There was a CNBC article saying BMO and Canaccord Genuity are the major pot stock bankers. I don't know about that, but do you like BMO?
Well, I like BMO because my wife worked there for 10 years. I have a lot of BMO shares still from when she worked there, and I banked there. So, and I know a lot of the people there from my wife working there all the years. So I like BMO on a personal level. I like it on a banking level too. I mean, now they're saying it's going to be the gun and the pot stock, so this is going to be making them more money. Is that what the argument is?
He says the major pot stock bankers.
I would imagine so.
I think we're reaching if we're looking at who's going to be making the money from the banking. These are not. Yes, it's a growing sector, but this isn't like going to be coming in and dominating. Like the banks in Canada make the majority of their money, well, obviously off their customers, but I mean, if you're looking at breaking it from sectors, you get out west, it's all energy. I mean, energy companies are the big bulk of the banking profits. And then obviously the housing market's really been what's really driven probably a lot of the bank growth there too. So I mean, mortgages and obviously interest rates are coming up a little bit there too. I can't see, the pod stocks really being, a huge money maker for the banks. Yes, it's a growing industry. Yes, they'll make some money from it, but because, you got the major banker, I mean, I think we're reaching if we're looking into the banks now for pod plays.
But that said,
go ahead, Spence.
Well, while we're on the topic of cannabis, I did want to mention this headline that I think will come after the bell today, at least according to Market Watch, who reported yesterday. Ontario still has not released guidelines as far as how cannabis can be sold in brick and mortar retail stores. They are the largest cannabis market. 40% of sales last year were in of cannabis sales were in Ontario. So they're expected to release guidelines as far as how it can actually be sold at the close today or after the close today. So that even though we know legalization is coming here in 2-3 weeks, this could move the market. So
I would guess they did. What do you call them, Dennis? LBBOs or something? Licensed Liquor Bureaus or something?
LCBO, License Control Board of Ontario. So that's what you go to because they actually recently broke that. So in the last couple of years, you can actually go into your grocery store.
Really? You can go to a store?
Yeah, they broke it. They broke it a few years ago.
Oh, man.
So it used to be in Canada, you could only buy beer at the beer store, liquor. Well, you could buy beer at the liquor store too, but you had to buy alcohol from the liquor store or the beer store. And they broke that monopoly there now. And now the grocery stores are carrying beer and liquor as well. So I don't know how they're going to regulate pot. We're going to find out some more details here. Could that be a catalyst to move the stocks? It seems like these stocks, like any catalyst. So who knows? One thing I will say is we saw the big pop, and I don't think I ever mentioned this on the show. We saw the big pop when Aurora, which is ACB in the Toronto. I'm not sure what it is.
It's ACBFF.
But they announced, Spencer, correct? They announced that they're going to get a regular U.S. listing coming, correct?
Yeah,
that was a big reason to pop.
They're hoping to do it, I think, in October.
So you wonder if Afria, and I know a lot of listeners like to trade Afria as well. You wonder if they're going to follow suit and try to get that, bit regular U.S. listing as well, because that could be a catalyst to kickstart Afria again. It's kind of been a laggard. I mean, they've all been great in the last month, but some of these other ones have really went. Afria is still trading $19.50, so it's doubled in the last month and a half. So it has been, but it's still not near its highs when we hit last year. So you just wonder if Afria could be a catalyst kickstart. If they actually announce that they're going to get a regular listing too, I think you can see Afria pop up to those highs as well. So one thing to consider.
Those two stocks have been holding in there. While extreme volatility and Tilray and NBEV and which is trading up 24 cents this morning, so that has kind of put a bid, so to say, in those issues underneath the market. Steve Roberts wants us to do Cintas earnings, I believe, CTAS. Are they the uniform maker? Am I correct on that?
Yeah, and the floor mats. Remember, we had this argument.
Oh, we had this argument before. Spencer, can you pull up those numbers for Cintas?
I can. Q1 adjusted EPS $1.93 versus $1.80 estimate, so a nice 13-cent beat there. Sales 1.7 versus $1.68 billion, but they're raising their guidance for the fiscal year. That'll be the headline here. Raising their fiscal year sales guidance. Just a hair on the low end of the range from $6.75 to $6.8 billion. The EPS estimate was raised by 19 cents from $7 to $7.19, again, on a fiscal year basis.
Not enough.
No, clearly not enough here, Dennis. I mean, sounded like pretty good news to me.
And when you read it like that, it did. Doesn't matter. It wasn't enough. Stock's down 5 points. It's run up into the earnings. We were in July, we were 185. 215 here now. It didn't run directly up, but it's been trending up in the last couple of months. So you're getting a pullback. That being said, you have a stock that's in a clear uptrend, pulling back. I think if you get anywhere near the 200 level, which is a ways away from here, I think you'll find buyers down there. At 206, 207, I kind of feel like I'm in the middle of nowhere.
They really whooped up on this thing. They got a pre-market low at 201.22, $5 off that. So, and the bidders have been stepping up. So I think even if you go into reverse here, not quite sure you're going to get to that 201.22 level. A couple levels sticking out ahead of that. When you have these kind of movements in the daily, in the pre-market, you really got to go to the dailies. And I see a double bottom at 205.15 area, and then it goes, 204, 202.73. Those are your different levels, but you're $5 off the low. So I think that could be holding up today. So if you're looking to bring in a short, see if you can see what happens. Nibble at 205, double bottom there, 205.13 and 15 from the beginning of August.
Square price target raise alert. Every single day we get one of these. Buckingham raising their price target from 85 up to 105. So they're not a street high, but they would be second, I believe, now at 105. So stock was already trading up. It's trading up a little bit more. It's up $1.50 here again today. I just think it's got 100 on the mind.
Do you think it's going to get microned? Do you think there's a chance of that happening?
What do you mean?
Oh, it's going to 100. It's going to 100.
It's a different story than Micron, though. Like Micron is, cyclical earnings. It's not in the full growth cycle. It's just a completely different story. So that's a value. It's exact opposite, really, of Square, because it's a value stock, and this is a pure growth stock that isn't making money. Will make money eventually, but I mean, it's just loved right now. I think Square. As I said that, it's get the price. It's starting to get popped up again too here. I think it's going $100 maybe today. I just don't know if you can stop it. I might trade it at the open. We'll see. I have no position on right now.
All right, moving on. We had a couple other stocks to hit on as far as the ratings. We had some M&A action. I don't know where you guys want to go, or if I can just pick where we go.
What's the M&A action?
Well, not action. When I say action, I meant rumors. Mostly, I was just referring to that Nielsen takeout. This is like Pandora, where it's been rumored for years and it hasn't actually happened. But we did get another headline yesterday that from Bloomberg that they're drawing interest in Blackstone and Carlyle, and you can see the stock kind of pop on that this morning.
Looking at NLSN, and the stock is trading up 3% in the pre-market. So Blackstone and CG both sniffing around. I don't know, Joel. I mean, it was in the gutter. It's come all the way back here. If you're buying it now, I feel like you're so late to the party because it's like it was $21 just 2 months ago. Now it's 28. It's a stock that had, major resistance up at 30. Now you're coming into that old resistance here. I don't know. Maybe there's room to 30, but wow, late to the party.
I mean, who would want this company? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are rumors here. Terrible long-term performance here since the middle of 2016. Someone got real excited and you got a 29 print up there. Actually, Dennis, do you see this at 20? I wonder if this was a cross. No, it wasn't in yesterday's range here. Wow. Let me see here. This was on the from between 4 and 4.15, over 1 million shares traded. I'm seeing, yeah.
On Nielsen?
Yeah, Nielsen.
Between 4 and 4.15.
Yeah.
It could have been something I don't see that kind of volume. Not
now?
Yeah, but it could have just been one cross, like you said, at the close or something. That would throw the volume thing right out. So maybe somebody crossed it at the close.
Well, that would be in the 4 o'clock bracket, unless
no, because the crosses, the FINRA crosses come in the next, like they don't typically come right at 4. They get to close, and then they start matching it. So I think a lot of those come in the next.
They print. Okay.
Yeah, so that could throw out your volumes.
29 pre-market high if you get there on the daily charts. I mean, you got your initial bump. This was back in August, and it's been running. It's gappy looking chart. I mean, if you want to, have expectations that it's going to fill the gap from July 25th, you're $1.27 away, $1.28 away from that. Fill the gap from July 25th. You need to get to 29.26.
What about Rollins is where I want to go next, Dennis.
Save this. Okay, we're gonna get imbalances here in 10 seconds.
We'll save it for the end.
GE imbalance is gonna be because it's been sell every day. We'll see what's going on. I'm short GE right now, by the way. GE 186,000 to sell. So again, it's like clockwork over there. Anyways, I just shorted more because this seems like every day the stock just goes together. So what do you think? Let's talk GE just quickly here. So I did trade it. I've shorted every single. I basically shorted at the close and buy it at the open, or buy it, slightly after the open almost every day. It's like 3 days in a row, and it's been working because it opens kind of just slightly down, comes in. Yesterday I held it for a little bit and then wasn't long because I'm a scalper. I was short coming in. I covered some of the 1150s and then I covered the rest of the 1140s, and then it continued to leak throughout the day down 1127. I don't know what's going to stop this thing from eventually seeing single digits. That's my long-term target, but yowzers, I mean, the chart is just ugly.
1122. I mean, that's the only number I can give you. That was your low from yesterday. And, see if a bunch of bids, 11, a psychological number, just a really ugly, very, we traded 12.99. This was on the 19th, and we've just been straight down and really picked up. The thing's lost 50 cents in the last 2 days here. So strong
momentum now.
Yeah, holy mackerel. $11 could be a target. Yesterday's low, 11.22 in GE, General Electric. Man, oh man, that thing is just in the gutter.
And anyways, I'm going to play it the same way. I'm going to cover I'm hoping for a little open washout again where it opens and starts to leak. I'll probably try to cover this in the lower 11s if it can get there. But these are just scalps and day trades. So still, though, overall, GE just in the gutter. Okay. So you're going to go to Rollins. This is a good story, which is why I want to save it. We got 4 minutes before Jonathan comes on here. Talk ROL, give us the details. I'll talk about trading action.
Well, I wasn't sure if you want to. Now we're going to it? Okay, we can go to it now. That's fine. Yeah. I wasn't. Rollins, so the news there is that they're being added to the S&P 500. And they're replacing Endeavor, which is ticker ANDV. So ROL to replace ANDV in the S&P 500.
The reason these are so interesting is because in the last year, it seems like every time something gets added to the S&P 500, it goes down. Well, typically before that, they would always go up. So it's funny. You get like people buying these things right off the hop on the initial announcement, and they go up a little bit, and then they just come in and they start going down. And it's the exact same thing we saw in ROL. They started buying it up at 62.70. I don't know if it went any higher than that, but then there was just like an algorithm that was selling it down and selling it down. And then what was interesting about this is you got into a little algo war. So there was like an algorithm that was trying to buy it, and there was an algorithm that was trying to sell it. So, the old algo that probably says, hey, it's getting out of the S&P 500, it's got to go up. And the new algo that says, hey, lately they've been knocking these things down, it's got to go down. These things were at war with each other last night. If you look at the trades from like 60, look at the trades like just after 5 o'clock to like say 6:30, 7 o'clock, this thing had to trade like over 1 million shares in there. And it was basically the one algo versus the other algo. That algo would bid for 10,000, other algo would hit it. And you could tell just because of the way like it's moving around that it's algorithmic. And sure, there was a few traders in there. I was in there as well, trading it a little bit as well. But I mean, you look at this ROL and the action last night, like somebody has been like 50,000 shares, you get them. Somebody hit 10,000 shares, you get them. I mean, there was just so much volume going off. How much volume traded, Joel? Like between, I would say like 5 o'clock when the announcement came and like 7 o'clock. Do you have a volume bars for that?
Yeah, I mean, let's see here. I mean, you had one bracket where it traded 420,000.
Oh yeah.
You had another bracket that it traded 70,000. Another bracket of 60,000. Another bracket of 100,000.
Let's comfortably say at least 500,000.
Oh, more than that, yeah.
500,000 to 700,000 shares. So I'll tell you, it's going to be fun to watch when the dust settles here and see who wins. I'm actually slightly short, so I'm gambling that the short algo is going to win just because that's what's happened. But I'm watching this very intrigued because, we could actually ask Jonathan about this too. I'm very intrigued to watch this because I'll tell you, somebody's going to lose some big money because that was all one algo versus the other. I bet you one algo is like long 500,000, one algo is short 500,000. Who's going to win the war right now? It's offered down in the pre-market. Let's see what happens. But somebody is basically, if you had somebody buy 500,000 and somebody sell 500,000, I think this is going to probably move, 2-3% one direction or the other. You could see one algo make $1 million, one algo lose $1 million on this. So it's going to be interesting to see who the eventual winner is.
The stocks had a really nice run up, even started the year in 2018 at the $45 level, and was as low as $30 in 2016. So it's had a nice run. So we'll see what happens. See the algo war. See who wins out on that one. Algo war. All right.
Algo wars. Let's
right.
bring JC. Let's bring Jonathan Corpina in about this, because I want to ask him about his thoughts here too. Because this is so interesting how they hit the S&Ps. And I've had a couple traders give me some thesis on this. I can talk with Jonathan as well. But he might know a little bit more about the arbitrage behind this.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll grab Jonathan Corpina, Senior Managing Partner at Meridian Equity Partners. Welcome back, everyone. Pre-Market Prep, Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, and Dennis Dick, now joined by Jonathan Corpina. He manages trading and sales on the Meridian NYSE trading desk. Jonathan, how's it going today?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're good. Jonathan, we were just talking about this ROL, and it got added to the S&P 500 last night. And I've traded these for years as well, to a certain extent. And what I find interesting, it seems like, and I've been a prop trader for 19 years. So over my 19 years, typically when a stock gets added to the S&P 500, it goes up. But in the last year or two, the stocks that are getting added to the S&P 500 are actually going down. And I'm wondering if there's something else happening with the arbitrage. I've had another trader mention to me the prospect that, well, when they're moving from the lower index, sometimes in the S&P 500, sometimes they're a bigger component in the lower one, and they actually have to, the net arbitrage is actually to sell shares, and that's why they're going down. Do you have any information on, how the arbitrage works in stocks like ROL when they're getting added to the S&P 500?
I've been seeing that a lot too lately, and I do think a component of that is the weighting in the index. And if it is coming from one to another and has a different weight, then definitely that plays into effect, and the index funds take that clearly into effect. I think also now is that as we approach this, and whether it's stocks being added or removing, or whether it's large expirations, I see this on these big Russell S&P days. There's so much information that's out there that comes out so far ahead of time. You've got all the major houses that are putting out their estimates at a very early stage. And I think a lot of the, not the game of it, but a lot of the planning of it is really done far ahead of time. So yes, it does come down to that last day, and we always have that large close and that trying to find that right pricing. But a lot of the mechanisms of it, a lot of the momentum of it has been built in days, sometimes weeks ahead of time. So that's why you think there's going to be this one-time large event, and it seems now more and more that these major events are turned into a lot of smaller events stretched over a period of time.
Do you think some of those trades just get crowded now, maybe, and then they actually end up going the other way?
Absolutely, because that adds to that transparency and information that's out there. So many people are just looking for new opportunities, and in a tape that we've seen that kind of continues to move up and moves higher on negative news and moves higher on positive news. I think when it comes down to playing the syndicate and playing these rebalances, that these trades are getting way too crowded.
We're on the line with Jonathan Corpina, Senior Managing Partner at Meridian Equity Partners. Jonathan's got like a comment, two-part question here. Coming off a quad witch here, we made the all-time high last week as the September went off the board. A lot of buying, a lot of selling as well. A lot of times those mark turning points in the market. Right now, we have backed off this area. To me, really important for the market to get back over the highs from last week and confirm another leg higher. And then secondly, we are due for our first ever rate hike in September. Is that adding a little, making the market a little bit nervous ahead of this announcement?
Yeah, so when we came out of the summer slowdown, I think everyone was looking forward to the large rebalance, the Russell S&P, triple witch or quad witch that we saw last week. And I think that was a date on the calendar because if you remember, we got out of the summer, we had, a shortened week because of Labor Day. Then we had another shortened week because of a Jewish holiday. We had back-to-back Jewish holidays and weeks. So that kind of played a part in participation in our market. So that event that we had last week was definitely something that we were looking at, and it did help cause kind of these highs of where we're at now. We have pulled back a little bit, but hasn't really had any major pullback from there. Moving that over to what was the next big catalyst on our calendar is rate hikes, and we've seen throughout the last 10, 12 quarters that the rate hikes have been somewhat anticipated. Once again, plays into our earlier conversation. The movement of rate hike anticipation has been placed into our market already. This trade is already there. The anticipation is already there. We kind of have a sense of how the market reacts when all the cards are on the table and we know what's going to happen. We're going to get a little bit of volatility. We're going to wait and see what the Fed has to say. Pretty much they're going to stick to their script. They're going to, still, use the term of they're going to remain data dependent, and the market will then find its spot after that. I don't think the rate hike that we are going to hear about today and discuss for the rest of the week is going to have a major effect on our market. What possibly could have a major effect on our market is that outlook moving forward. Priced in or beginning to be priced in is another rate hike at the end of the year. If there's any wording that might add some mystery to that, I think that would have a negative effect on our market. But I think the Fed is going to play it smart. I think they're going to stick to script, stick to their blueprint, and not deviate from what their plan was when they started the year.
All right, you've been around for a while. You've seen different manias, different bubbles and whatnot. I mean, any comments on what's going on here in the marijuana sector? I know a lot of the stocks are NASDAQ, but I'm sure your clients are asking and talking about it here. Just any comments on the unbelievable rally in the marijuana sector?
Yeah, I personally don't own any and have been enjoying watching this. And it kind of falls into somewhat of the the cryptocurrency conversations that we've had for the past few years. This is something that I think has been embraced more by regulation and more by our government. We see state by state laws being passed every single year to welcome the cannabis industry. These stocks are high flyers, and from any given point, they could, they could be the discoverer of the next new cannabis product, or it could just be hype, and they come crashing right back in. A lot of this is exactly what I just said. A lot of this is hype, because once again, we don't know what the true landscape is going to look like moving forward, how regulation is going to really play into things. But it is certainly enjoyable to watch. As an investor, I would just recommend that when you're looking at some of these companies, to really try to look under the hood. This is more of a flip of the coin. Hope that regulation and participation goes your way down the road. But as we've seen in a couple of stocks over the last few weeks, they can move a tremendous amount of percentage points in a very short period of time, and it can come right back in.
Jonathan, we'll let you go right after this question, but just a quick question on value versus growth. I mean, this market has been oriented, and this market is hungry for anything with growth. It continues to be hungry for growth. It seems like, stocks that are making a lot of money on the bottom line, the market doesn't care that. They just want to see that top line growth. You get a stock like Square that just is blasting off into orbit despite not making money. So when you look under this hood and you really do your homework, I mean, it's been a tough market to be an investor in, because if you're buying companies that make good money, they've underperformed. And if you're buying companies that are just, trading with the higher multiples but growing, those are the ones that have outperformed. What do your guys say? Like, what are your institutional traders saying about this, value versus growth argument?
Yep, you got to figure out, when you're looking at value versus growth, is value. How long do I want to hold this investment? How much time do I really want to be in this? If I want to get on the wave of the market moving higher and certain sectors continue to move higher, and you're just going to try to ride it out for a short period of time, then that's your objective. If you are looking at companies that have growth and have value and are lacking behind, that's something that you're going to have to ride the waves, back and forth with over a period of time. And in time, those companies that do have growth potential are the ones that will rise to the surface. But that being said, you look at the market now, you look at the way some of these indices have traded, and if you've been waiting too long, then you've really missed a boat here. Unfortunately, you have to kind of stay with the trend that we've seen in this market, and as we continue to shake our heads at many things, negative headlines have not impacted our markets. Tightening of regulation hasn't really impacted too many certain stocks out there. We talk about tariffs, we talk about the implications of tariffs, and once again, the uncertainty that there has not had a negative effect on our market. So I think investors need to continue to look for that growth that's out there, but you might have to wait it out a little while longer, just because some of these stocks are high flyers and they're going to move on their own.
All right, Jonathan Corpina, Senior Managing Partner, Meridian Equity Partners. Jonathan, thanks so much for the time as always, and have a good one.
Gentlemen, have a great day.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.
All right, S&P futures hanging out here mid-range on the session, up 4 points. Don't expect here a lot of fireworks before 2:15 or 2 o'clock, kind of.
Unless you're in square.
Yeah. What's going on, Dennis? Is that you taking it to $100?
Well, we just talked about 96.50, and I was like, I think it's going to $100 this week, and maybe today. And I don't know if we're going to stop it. We've got 100 on the mind. It's got the Buckingham raised price target. Now we're seeing 200,000 shares to buy at the open here. It's a huge buy amount. It's the biggest one I've seen it for a long time. I mean, everybody's chasing this thing now. So do you think it's going to not hit $100?
I mean, come on. I mean, it's
this far.
98.15. I mean,
you're very much chasing. This was $81 yesterday morning, so it's up 17 points. But I think it's gone so far. I don't know. I can't see how it's not going to hit $100 today. Unbelievable movement there in Square. Still no position in for me, but wish I was long.
All right, can we talk about
IBM catches an upgrade? Let's go to rating. Or where were you going, Spence?
I was going to go to ALDX, which you said do that. On the pre-market show, we said this was going to be our mover of the day here. Aldera Therapeutics announced results from a phase 2 dry eye disease clinical trial, which showed statistically significant improvement across multiple symptoms and sign measures. All that comes out to good news for ALDX.
Stock was trading higher. It's actually starting to leak. Joel, how high did we get?
Oh, you got it in a $16 handle here. Your pre-market high stands at $16.45 and some volume traded up there.
So you've given back half of the gain already here. So that is one story. So it is leaking, which is a concern for the bulls here. We're at $13 here right now. I don't follow this story. Things are wild. I'm not going to say, I'm not even going to give any speculation where I think this is going. I'll just say these things are wild off of drug news, obviously, and it's already, had a huge range here pre-market. So I'm out on this one. Too wild for me.
Far eclipse the former all-time high. Your former all-time high was it 1350? So I'd use that as a bogey as opposed to that pre-market high of 1645. 1350 is my number. If you're looking at support here, and this is minor support, you got a couple lows. This is just on your 15-minute charts here, so don't go crazy on it. 2 lows have come in at right to $20 area. Before we go to ratings, I just Emerson Santos here is talking about Boeing. And man, I guess you could call it a triple top. I mean, they're kind of in a range here. I will say from 370.46 to 372.57. Those have been your last four highs. You backed off that area. So when I see something like that, I think someone overall is just trying to, wiggle out of stock above 370. And, they let it get up to 371.5, and then they hit it. But not an exact double top there, but it does look like someone wants to sell some stock in the 370 handle.
Late to the party if you're buying it now. I mean, the stock has run up 35 points since everybody hated it back in August and September. So I feel like now you're getting the upper end of the range. Yes, we could have, some type of, agreement here with China. Yes, that might catapult the stock further, but we could also have, no agreement here for a while, and that would bring it back down. So, I mean, we're looking at tariffs here. That's, one issue here for Boeing, but I think it's run quite a ways here. Could it break out from the top of the range? Sure. But right now it's at the top of the range.
All right, now let's go to ratings. And when is the last time we talked about IBM?
Yeah, and last night I was asking everybody, I was asking my Twitter followers, I was asking everybody in the chat, I was like, what is the news on IBM? I can see it trading up. It looks like an upgrade. I could tell by the way it was trading after hours. I was like, this looks like it's got an upgrade. A couple of people sent me multiple articles, which was like, well, maybe it's just an article. Somebody was saying about blockchain, and then another article, I forget what the article was on, but no, lo and behold, it was an upgrade last night. UBS upgraded it last night to a buy, and that's why the stock's up $2.50 this morning.
Well, trading near the highs of the pre-market session, 150, 160 is where you got. You're right there right now, so maybe you got a little bit more work to do on the upside. Let's see, on expiration, no, it wasn't expiration Friday. Yes, it was. 152.60. If you're looking for another resistance point, that's $1.20 away. So I would use that 152.60, but still looks like we got a little bit more work to do on the upside here as we're only trading 16 cents off the pre-market high.
Also getting downgraded here. These analysts just gang up on the same stocks. Lam Research getting downgraded at UBS here. I mean, the stock has been in the gutter. The trend is not your friend. Every time it's rallied, it's been a selling opportunity here. I took a lot of heat when I was saying I think this thing takes a 170 back at the beginning of September. I think it's going to be a nice play on the short side, and obviously it was. It's 20 points, 22 points lower than that now. Again, Micron is the same story. It's kind of bounced a little bit more on this. These two stocks do tend to trade together to a certain extent. Applied Materials, a little more related to LRCX. Applied Materials been in the gutter there too. But, value chips are just not in favor right now, and more pain from the analysts here for LRCX shareholders.
You have eclipsed the former low of the move. Former low of the move was 149.02 here. So I guess that will be resistance now. You're just sitting at the lows of the pre-market session here. Pre-market low is 148.15. That's your last print, 148.15. Dennis, is it offered there at 148.15?
Let's go take a look. 148.15 to 148.45, but it's offered down there. I mean, it's a downgrade. It's taken out support. I mean, I don't know. If you're buying this, you are definitely fighting the trend.
Okay. You did have a low. I mean, we're not going to see it today. Back in July 2017, you hit 139.24. So I'm sure you could find some daily lows in between there. But in order for the stock to have a chance in a rally, you need to get back over the former low of the move at 149.14.
GoPro getting upgraded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big pop for, come on, really? They're going to buy this up 10% on this? It was showing some life. So, we'll give it that. It was showing some life going into this. It wasn't going down at least anymore, but that seems a little overdone. What did they say, Spencer? Was this a big price target boost, like an upgrade? Why up 9% almost?
Well, it's an upgrade to outperform. So
where were they before? Neutral?
Yeah, market before. So,
I don't know. That's a huge move. So I'm not saying fade it, but I'm not buying it either.
Yeah, I'm not saying to fade either. Trading near the highs of the pre-market session. Pre-market high 7.25. Now you got up in this area, big old green old candle, and we traded 32 million shares I don't know if this was on earnings or whatnot. You went from $5.99 to $7.05 and then just reverse course there. So I think, as Nick would say, you're returning to the scene of the crime here at 731. Bid up. I mean, it's up here. It's holding up here. So if you could take that out, yeah, you can find some daily levels. Buy that. But man, up 10, nearly 10%. Big move here. Just make sure if you're getting in this thing early off the open, you want to see continuation 720, 730, 740, 750, or else back and fill here for GoPro.
I'm not chasing anything
No
with
way.
GoPro. And what else ratings, Land? Anything else, Spencer?
You mentioned the big ones, the GoPro and the IBM. We had a Dow DuPont downgrade from Nomura today to neutral, a Cabot Oil COG downgrade from Morgan Stanley also to neutral. And those were kind of the only ones that I saw.
Yeah, there's a lot of initiations today, but analysts they've kind of been in a slumber. There's not so many big calls lately from these analysts. I'm disappointed lately.
There's about to be because earnings are around the corner, but a lot of maintaining ratings, just Nike and earnings follow-throughs, et cetera, but not a ton elsewhere in ratings land.
So we have 4 minutes left. Where do you want to go? We can go Bed Bath & Beyond reports tonight. We can go over and talk. I don't know. Where do you want to go?
Let's go Bed Bath & Beyond here. Just taking a look ahead of the report. Stock's been in the gutter. Had a nice move last week. If you're looking to trim here ahead of the report, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 highs. Let's call it 1920 as resistance. Currently trading 8 cents at $18.98.
Tesla as well. This is a stock, and I think it was our buddy from the chat, John, was talking about this.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chart here too. It looks like it wants to go. I mean, hate it, and it gets so much hate. I mean, I look at my Twitter stream, and everybody here loves to hate on the stock. I'll tell you, it's been a lot better performer than Ford and GM. And I don't have a position in it. I obviously sold mine. I got talked into it. I sold it. I almost want to put it on for a swing trade right now, though. Not a long-term investment, but just because you got so many lows in the same area here, 293, 295. The reason I almost can't bring myself to do it is the wild card, and we don't know what's going on with Musk. Is he going to end up getting, more trouble? Is he, he's just a wild card right now. There's headline risk like crazy on this. But I'll tell you, if you're just looking at none of that, looking at the technicals, this thing looks like it's itching to break out.
And consolidation station here,
yeah,
$300 stock, and basically, you can say it's a 12, 13 point trading range between 93.33 and 305.98. But man, it traded a lot of stock at just 300, 299, 300. I don't know. I eyeballed this thing a couple times yesterday, and I don't know. It's going to move. It's not, a stock like this is not going to, going to stay in this tight area. I mean, they have a big quarter, big production, show that they're making money. They'll take this thing right back up. And I think they got a little muzzle on Musk. I'm not as worried about that. I think
has he done what damage has he done already, and is there going to be further repercussions coming? We know there's an investigation in there. I mean, there's a lot going on over there. I don't think they're throwing him in jail or anything like that, but I mean, there could be. That's definitely got to be a distraction for him. So I mean, he's a workhorse. And he didn't need all this distraction too, but he kind of created himself. I like the chart. I'm just scared of the headline risk. It's probably why I'm not in it as a trade. But if I was looking at this, I actually like the setup from the long side right now.
Yeah, it does. It's setting up nicely here. Just do one more stock here from the chat. Someone's asking about the Cisco kid, Cisco Systems. Just continues to climb.
Yes,
huge.
I think it's going to 50. I think it's going to 50.
Wow, this is had a huge bar in August and going from 42.29 to 47.77. The high for the move, 48.88. You hit that yesterday. Maybe see some size at 49, and then when you go farther out, you go to a monthly candle here. There's just not much in here. Back in December of 2000, this stock was at 55.75. Ended the month at 38.25. So just a nice, slow, steady rally here in the Cisco Kid. All right, Spencer, you want to wrap things up and preview Thursday's show?
Well, on tomorrow's show, we have a special guest, Tim Seymour, the man himself, Fast Money host. He will join us tomorrow at 8:35 to break down really whatever the news is tomorrow, but I'm sure we'll definitely talk about cannabis since that is an area of expertise for Tim. So get your cannabis questions ready tomorrow at 8:35. But in the meantime, that'll do it for today's show. If you missed any part of our interview with Jonathan or our discussions on Nike or the Fed or anything else, you can catch our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, or Google Play, or just rewatch our show on youtube.com/Benzinga TV. Thanks again to all of you in our chat. Thanks to Jonathan Corpina, who joined us earlier in the show. Real quick, I want to remind you that everything on our show is for informational purposes only and not meant to be investing advice. On that note, everyone, hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope you join us again on Thursday.